Congratulations on your nomination, and thanks for coming today. Was the recent military takeover in Egypt a coup?
Thank you, Senator. As you know, and as we discussed, I share the President's concern and your concern over the seizure of power from President Morsi, the suspension of the Constitution, the arrests, et cetera. On the legal matter and on the review that the administration is carrying out, I just don't feel equipped to comment, not now serving in the administration, not having access to full facts, and not being part of the review.
Okay, so for the record, you're unsure if it's a coup?
I don't feel equipped to comment.
Very politic of your answer. You stated that whenever a government is killing its citizens, it's morally incumbent for, I presume, for us to intervene. In Pakistan, they kill their citizens for certain types of speech. Does that mean we should intervene in Pakistan?
Thank you, Senator. And the quotation that you read surprises me because that is not language that I would normally use. But let me refine my own view, if I could. Intervene is a word that can mean a range of things. When you speak out in a country to contest gross violations of human rights or mass atrocities, that's a form of intervention in the sense that you're, in a way, meddling in the internal affairs of a state on behalf of human rights. Economic sanctions are a form of response. I think in the face of gross violations of human rights, mass atrocity, genocide, and this is, again, something we discussed yesterday, we have a vast array of tools in the toolbox. Assistance.
I guess my specific question then would be, are you willing today to speak out against the practice of killing people for making religious statements that are objectionable to certain religions?
Absolutely, sir. I've spent my whole life speaking out about such
Because, I mean, that's
crimes.
part of it, is I think we've become so timid with certain of these, you know, at the very least we can call them intolerances, but basically killing people for religious speech, I think, is something we shouldn't be ashamed of speaking out about. I'm not proposing we invade Pakistan to tell them how to lead their lives in their country, but I am saying that not only should we speak out about it, we should make our aid contingent upon it. Do you think any aid to these countries should be contingent upon behavior?
Well, sir, again, as we discussed, I think every tool in the toolbox needs to be reviewed, and depending on the circumstances, it's hard a little bit to speak in the abstract, but we need to use the levers we have at our disposal, consistent with our other interests, because we do retain other interests, of course, with these countries as well, but certainly examine anything we can do to deter such horrible practices.
When we intervene in countries, who gets to make that decision, the President or the Congress?
Thank you. Well, let me just say that, and I hope the last few weeks that the past is prologue in a way. If I am confirmed, I would benefit enormously if I could maintain the relationships that feel like I've begun to forge here these last weeks and continue these conversations. So consultation is indispensable. I cannot do this job, even if confirmed.
Congress or the President
without
decides
you.
whether we go to war?
As you know, there's a long-standing debate between the executive and the legislature that has crossed Republican and Democratic administrations about authorizations for the use of force, and all I can say is that I promise to consult with you extensively at all times.
Sounds like a non-response response. But, you know, the thing is that these are important questions. The vast majority of the public's not in favor of arming Islamic rebels who in all likelihood will be killing Christians in Syria. The vast majority of the American public's not in favor of giving arms to people who are basically allied with al-Qaeda in Syria. The vast majority of the public doesn't believe that we're going to have a way of knowing who our friends and who our foes are. We can't even tell who our friends are in the Afghan army, which is a much more stable situation than Syria. So I find it incredible to think that we will. But the thing is those can be honest disagreements among people who say, oh, absolutely, we can say who the good people are, and we're only going to give weapons to good people. I find it a ridiculous argument, but I think it's an argument that some could make. But the thing is I don't think there's a valid argument for fighting secret wars without the permission of Congress. And basically that's where we are right now. I think it's also untenable to the American public for the administration to say, well, you know, we're going to go over there and we're going to arm them. We're not really going to try so much to win, but we really would like to get to stalemate so we could get the Russians to negotiate. And I think that's really not, you know, very tenable either, not too exciting for American GIs to, you know, who might lose lives and limbs, you know, should we be stuck in another war in the Middle East, to be too excited about this, that, well, our goal is stalemate. And, you know, I think that people, and I think you have noble purposes in wanting to eradicate human rights abuses around the world, but realize that, you know, war is a messy business, and, you know, people do lose their lives. You know, people, a young sergeant in the neighboring town to mine lost both legs and an arm in Iraq. And so these aren't geopolitical games, and they aren't things that we can say, oh, we're going to make the world, you know, this great groovy place where nobody has any human rights abuses, but we're going to do it through war. And so my caution is that to be careful about what we wish for, and to be careful about the belief that even though we are a good people and we want good things, and I think you're a good person and you want good things, that in all likelihood, as you do this, there are unintended consequences. And as we slip into this new war in Syria, if our trainers that are over there, I don't know how many there are, but the newspaper says several hundred trainers are over there, they're Americans, if they get killed, are we going to, you know, what's a typical response? It'll be mine. I'll be mad at the people who killed them, but then will be the response that we send more soldiers, and then we send platoons and regiments and generals, and then all of a sudden we're in another decade-long war, you know, which people say they want to fight to stalemate. So I would just say that even though noble intentions, I think, are yours, be very wary of what intervention means when we intervene. And it's one thing to send bread, but it's another thing to send guns. Thank you.
Thank you.